Good afternoon, everyone. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for varsity basketball competition in our annual Old School Jam Classic. Please welcome our guests from Timber Creek High School. They are the Wolves, and they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Timber Creek, and we start at guard with 6'2" sophomore number 0, A.J. Williams. At guard, junior number 1, Chad Washington. At forward, 6'2", senior number 1, Gian Caballero. At forward, number 23, Miles Mayfield. And finally for the Wolves at small forward, sophomore number 30, Robert Cage. And the head coach of the Wolves, Freddie Cintron. And now, let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting at guard, 6'3", sophomore, number 21, Vopsi Prophet. At forward and guard, 6' junior, number 0, Malachi Hampton. At small forward, 6'5", junior, number 4, Isaiah Bannister Doucette. At guard, 6'2", junior, number 10, Kerry Davis. And finally for the Mustangs at guard, 6'1", senior, number 3, Jalaric Hammond. And the head coach of the Mustangs is Mr. Jacino Lubin. The officials for today's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. Today's games are being live streamed on YouTube as well as the NFHS network. If you have friends and family who are not able to join us in person today and you'd like to send them the link, just have them go on NFHS network, search for either Wekiva or Timber Creek, or open up the YouTube app on their favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device and search for the channel Wekiva Sports. And a special welcome to those of you who are doing just that. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs. Joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, we'll be taking you through this afternoon's special Saturday afternoon edition of basketball action here at Mustang Arena.
And we are underway from Mustang Arena. Once again, thank you for joining us. Wekiva coming in off a victory over Edgewater, a 60-47 victory that ups their record to 4-6. The third game of the calendar, the new calendar year for the Mustangs. This is Hammond out to Hampton. First shot of the game, no dice. And we are off and running. And speaking of Hampton, as we're going to get a turnover.
Double dribble violation. Mustangs ball.
Hampton missed almost the entire first half of the season. He got injured in that first week, and he returned in their first game Wednesday night against West Orange. Unfortunately, Wekiva unable to beat their longtime rivals, dropping a 58-49 game. So, Coach Lubin, this is Hammond and Hampton playing the two-man game. They go down low to Doucette now. Back up to Hampton, doing Windex work. Caballero. So, Coach Lubin described Hamden as the engine and Hampton as the transmission, so it's good to have our transmission back, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Mustangs back at full strength, trying to work their way back up to a 500 record. And here we're going to get a layup by Robert Gage to put the Wolves on the board. The Mustangs request their first timeout, 30-second timeout called by Wekiva. We'll be right back from Mustang Arena.
And welcome back to Mustang Arena. A minute into the Saturday afternoon game between Wekiva in the white. Got some trouble there for Hampton, who's just returned from injury. Gets the ball back. Timber Creek in the purple uniforms. This is Davis. The spin and drops the deuce.
Harry Davis puts the Mustangs on the board.
So 2-2 now as Timber Creek goes to work. Look for Mayfield and Shaw to do most of the offensive work. They're combining for 21 total. Down low along the baseline, the drive, and score to deuce off the bank.
Layup for the Wolves by Chad Washington.
So Timber Creek off to a strong start from the field. 2 of 3, that's Profit. He's going to drive the lane, kicks out to back out to Hammond. And speaking of Profit, he dropped 17 last night in that win against Edgewater.
Trey will not go for Profit. Offensive board coming up for Bannister. He punches his way back. And let's wait for the official signal. Isaiah Bannister and one. The foul called against number 0, A.J. Williams, his first and the team's first. So that was about as much as you could ask for. Powerful rebound, punching his way back into the paint through traffic, managed to pick up the moving block there and converts the and one.
And Wekiva with a 5-4 lead, their first lead of the game at 5:50.
And now we get a foul going the other direction. Looks like it's going to be called as a block. Isaiah Bannister is called on the block, his first personal and the team's first.
Timber Creek inbounding, down low to Caballero, who goes with the withdrawal.
A.J. Williams to Gian Caballero for 2.
So Timber Creek back in the lead, 6-5 again. Timber Creek having a rough season so far, only 1-8, so they certainly can use a victory. Wekiva looking to add, going 2 in a row, and that'll help.
Malachi Hampton from Jamaric Hammond.
So both teams continuing to shoot the ball well in the early going. Matter of fact, both are 3 of 5.
Miles Mayfield on the pass from Caballero.
And the teams continue to go back and forth. Fourth lead change.
Davis from the top of the key, not there, swooping in for the rebound is Malachi Hampton, but he can't hold on to it. A.J. Williams takes it away as Hampton and Gage get tangled up in a knot in the backcourt. They'll go to the corner. Mayfield on the tray. It's going to touch the backboard equipment. That's the equivalent of out of bounds. Team defensive rebound for the Mustangs.
So Wekiva trailing 8-7. Again, so far a very good game, very exciting game. Both teams going back and forth, 4 ties. Timber Creek currently in the lead, 8-7, 4.5 in the first quarter.
Tipped away by Williams. Davis manages to reel it in, though, for the Mustangs. Resetting, back to Profit. Releases the tray, and it's a little short, and we're going to get some contact on the rebound. This one's going to go against Wekiva. Push is called against Isaiah Bannister, his second, the team's second. Checking into the game for the Wolves.
And Mark, we mentioned last night, of course, Wekiva taking a 60-47 victory over Edgewater. Somewhat of a surprise, and Profit dropping 17 in that game. but Hammond also dropped 15. So Hammond continued to lead the senior. There's the turnover.
And drawing the foul, so Bannister pulls his weight there.
Some good defense, as you mentioned, done by Isaiah Bannister-Doucette.
Foul called against number 22, Marcus Krall. That's his first personal foul, the team's second. Checking into the game for the Mustangs. In for Isaiah Bannister is number 11, Kerry Davis. Or excuse me, that's Pete Lewis.
So Lewis coming in, as you just heard Mark, the 6'2" senior. He's gotten a couple of starts so far this season. Again, Hampton was out for most of that first half of the season with an injury. Now Hammond, top of the key, launches, kicks off that heel. Lewis running it down, doing a nice job, tracking that ball down, and now unfortunately a bad job.
Yeah, that one went into the splash zone of the audience there.
So that was certainly a case of one step forward, one step backwards.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 1.
As Wekiva goes to its full court man-to-man.
So Darius Livingston comes into the game, and now trying to get something done in fast break. Krall gets held up by Hammond in the paint, has to pop it back out. Jumper not there for Caballero, and the rebound goes to Hampton.
Back the other way, this is Hammond. Taking it all the way, a couple passes. Profit's going to slash through that lane, can't get the deuce to drop. And a foul on the rebound, doing some strong rebounding work.
Foul is called against Mustangs, number 11, Pete Lewis. That's his first personal foul and the team's third.
Krall getting that rebound.
Hampton had a good look at that one, couldn't quite get there. Washington releases the tray, that's not there. Put back by Krall, doesn't fall either. And we're going to get a loose ball foul. Foul called against number 30, Robert Gage on the push. His first personal foul, the team's third.
So back to work, Wekiva goes. 3 minutes in the first quarter. Back and forth game, although we haven't seen any points in about 2 minutes. Timber Creek, 8-7 lead. Hammond, top of the key, gets the pick. And contact drawn, and he will draw the foul.
Foul is called against number 30, Robert Gage. That's his second now, the team's fourth.
So Wekiva maintains possession of the ball. Inbound back down to one-man game between Livingston, who's come in during the break, as well as Hammond. Back out to Hammond. He's going to take the lane and drops the deuce.
Shamaric Hammond.
Back the other way.
Transition doesn't work for Gage, and it was a high-risk, high-reward kind of play. The risk won out there, and so the Mustangs will get another chance.
Wekiva with an opportunity to up that lead, ahead by a point. 9-8, 5 lead changes through the first 6 minutes or so. Livingston, top of the key, the freshman, guarded one-on-one by Mayfield. Man-to-man for both these teams. Down in the corner, Profit fakes the shot, now slashes through that lane, the drive, and draws the foul.
Varsity Profit fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The foul is called against Wolves, number 22, Marcus Krall. That's his second personal foul, the team's fifth.
So the first free throws of the game. Again, 5 lead changes here through the first 6 minutes. It's been an exciting game, an interesting game.
2 for 2 at the line for Profit.
Back the other way to Hammond.
Lewis on the putback attempt. That falls. Pete Lewis, second chance basket.
So Windex work pays off for Wekiva. Back the other way. Swatted away by Hampton. Profit picking up that loose ball on the run. This is what Wekiva's good at. And looks like they're going to still need a little bit of rust. Get rid of that rust after a 2-week layoff.
Returning to the game for the Mustangs, number 12, Avia Charles.
So Profit to Hammond, back to Profit. Livingston. Livingston, number 1. Back to Hammond. The senior guard goes down low to Hampton, at the free throw line, as Hampton flashes from the top and drops the
Malachi Hampton on a short jumper for Wekiva.
So Wekiva now starting to flex its muscle. Hampton
Malachi Hampton steals 2, and we'll pause for a Wolves timeout.
So a 10-0 run for Wekiva, getting that rust off. Second game for the calendar new year. We'll be back with the 9-point lead for Wekiva.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Bargy here with Neil Fisher for our 3rd out of 4 consecutive games here on Saturday morning and afternoon. It's the Old School Jam Classic. Unfortunately, thanks to YouTube's copyright guidelines as well as the NFHS networks, you don't get to actually hear any of those old school jams, but those here in the arena are being treated to some more classic fare.
17-8 lead for Wekiva. They're on a 10-0 run. And now they'll get an opportunity to get that to 12 or even 13 in a row.
Brown stepped out of bounds there, and so that turns the ball over to the Mustangs. Less than a minute to play here in the first quarter.
The defense has been the catalyst for this run. And Wekiva back to work. Back up top to Hammond. Looks over to Lubin. Coach Banks. And now Wekiva's going to settle in, take its time. Something you don't see often from Wekiva. They're a team that likes to get up and down that court and take the shots quickly. Although, Coach Lubin, his philosophy is if you don't get that shot in the first 7 seconds, let's pull it back out and we'll wait till 17-second mark, which is what Wekiva's doing now. This is Livingston, the freshman, down to Lewis, back up to Hammond. Can't get the tray to drop out of bounds. Lewis unable to track it down. So Wekiva unable to increase that lead in their run, but certainly an opportunity to go into the second quarter with their last say. They have to hold off 3.6 seconds. Hampton almost the interception, crossing midcourt. And score the tray for Washington.
Chad Washington gets the last word of the first quarter and cuts the Mustang lead to 6. 17-11 is your score at the end of the first quarter here in the Varsity Boys game of the Old School Jam Classic. Back with more in a moment.
Mustang Arena, the site as we begin the second quarter. Wekiva with a 17-11 lead. They were on a 10-0 run, but as the buzzer sounded, Washington. Chad Washington of Timber Creek drained a tray. He came in shooting 38%, and certainly those are points that Timber Creek needed. Looked like Wekiva was going to go into the second quarter with the momentum. That's Brown. Haggled along the baseline, and do not count the basket. He traveled.
Basket traveling, Mustangs ball.
So 6 turnovers now for Timber Creek. And Wekiva in the white jerseys, the home team. This is Mustang Arena. Will take possession of the ball. Full court man-to-man being played by both these teams. Livingston, the freshman point guard, now calling out the play. Just beginning the second quarter. Timber Creek coming in with a 1-8 record, so certainly they're looking to get some victories. Needs to find their legs, if you will. About third of the way through the season. Wekiva, as Livingston launches and drains the rain.
Varsity Profit for 3.
And there's your answer from Washington. Profit now with 5 points. Again, Timber Creek ended that first quarter with a tray. Washington from half court.
Yeah, that's one of those plays that you see it attempted at the end of almost every quarter. You almost never see it work.
So back the other way. Profit, who again just got that tray to answer the tray at the end of the first quarter from Timber Creek. The spin from Hampton. Float the deuce for the 0.
Malachi Hampton for 2.
So Wekiva now scoring the first 5 points in the second quarter. They, once again, are coming off a victory last night as a soft floater from Washington does not drop. Heavy chase and out of bounds. Ball will remain with Timber Creek. Wekiva taking a 60-47 victory.
Isaiah Bannister in for the Mustangs. Timothy Coe for the Wolves.
60-47 victory over Edgewater just down the road. And let's see who the foul's on.
Offensive foul is called against number 5. Brandon Rivera, that's his first personal foul, and the team's 6th.
So as you just heard Mark say, as we approach 2 minutes, 6 fouls, which means Wekiva will be in bonus the rest of this way. The kick out. It rims in and out for Charles. Coming back the other way. Off the glass, but no rim. And doing Windex work with Profit and Charles. Now Charles will bring the ball up. And Mark, quite frankly, we've seen some transition, but not nearly as much as you would think from these two teams. As
3 for Darius Livingston.
And of course, when you're sinking trays like that, Wekiva now scoring the first 8 points in the turnover. Transition might not be that important. It's Charles down to Profit, and Profit running with the ball before he got it.
Traveling Wolves ball.
And the Timber Creek Wolves are going to take a timeout.
30-second timeout requested by the Wolves.
So Wekiva on a run. They're up 25-11 now as we head into the break.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Parchi here with Neil Fisher for the last 5.5 minutes of the second quarter here at Mustang Arena. Saturday afternoon basketball action. The Wolves taking on the Mustangs in 4 back-to-back games. And too much time on the inbound Mustangs ball.
So another turnover. That is the 9th of the game for Timber Creek.
Yeah, I don't know what Coach Cintron told them in the timeout huddle, but I don't think it was that.
Wekiva also on an 18-3 run. Profit clanks off that rim and scrambling underneath.
Nice work. on the baseline.
Yeah, Doucetto reset back up to Charles. And now to Livingston, the freshman guard, who's seeing some significant time here with Hammond getting a rest on the bench. Livingston with 3 points, 3 minutes into the second quarter. Charles launches and drains the rain. Livingston.
Dallas Livingston for 3.
So Wekiva continues its run. They are now on a 28-11 lead in a 21-3 run over the 1-8 Timber Creek Wolves, and there's a push-off. But it is going to be a defensive foul.
Foul called against number 11, Pete Lewis, his second, the team's fourth. Kerry Davis is back into the game for the Mustangs.
So I did see
Chad Washington comes back in for Timber Creek.
Marcus Krell actually uses elbow, but Lewis must have committed the foul before the elbow came into play. The spin for Cox, and he goes down low, and the good defense forces the traveling call.
And we're going to get a fire drill here for the Mustangs.
And I'm hearing Coach Cintron ask the ref, how's that a traveling call? So disagreement on the bench, but end result is Wekiva an opportunity to continue its run. They're 4-6. They've had a bit slower start than you would expect, but they are coming in off a victory. Hammond in the corner to Profit. Profit brings it back out top. Now both the point guards in. And the two-man game continues between Hammond and Profit. 4 minutes remaining before half.
Davis runs into a wall at the baseline with Brown, tries to pop it out, and Profit has no choice but to turn it over to avoid the backward violation. Coming the other way, it is Robert Gage in transition on the layup, and the Mustangs will now take a timeout.
Yeah,
30-second timeout called by Wekiva.
Yeah, Coach Banks jumped up immediately. He did not like what he saw. And so we go to the break. Mustang Arena, the site. 4 minutes before halftime. This is boys varsity basketball. Wekiva with possession of the ball in a 28-13 lead over Timber Creek. Of course, the women will play next, the 14-1 women. And they'll be looking to right the wrong of a loss. That's Hammond, who connects from beyond the arc.
Hammond from Kerry Davis for 3.
And the run continues for Wekiva, 24-5 now. Driving that lane, kicking out. Cox, top of the key, resets the play to Gage. Over to Crowell. He's going to go one-on-one with Doucette. Gets by him, scoops and drops the deuce.
Marcus Crowell on the Wolves layup.
So that gives some momentum to Timber Creek. Timber Creek came into this first quarter after a trade from half court, found the mark, but Wekiva immediately erased that momentum, scoring the first 7 points. And that's Hampton with the travel.
Wolves ball. Checking into the game for Timber Creek, number 10, Gian Caballero.
So now the full court man-to-man defense. So once again, Hampton, only his second game after a lengthy injury. He's number 0. One of the big guys, and that's the drive short. Couldn't find that roll for Washington. Hammond doing Windex work. He comes back the other way, and he'll go coast to coast. Make the withdrawal, +1.
Jamaric Hammond, and 1. Foul called against number 30, Robert Gage. That's his 3rd personal foul and the team's 7th.
So Hammond will go to the line. He has 7 points, looking for his 8th. 33-15 lead for Wekiva. And that free throw attempt will now count.
Lane violation is called against the Mustangs. Wolves ball. So much for the 3-point play. Still a nice
18-point lead
for Hammond.
Approaching 2 minutes before halftime, and now the double team on Washington. He gets rid of the ball, going down low, rejected.
Hammond on the block.
So Hammond flashing his defensive wares after showing his offensive wares. 2:04 remaining. Inbound pass, and score the deuce off the bank.
Caballero for 2.
So Caballero scoring his first deuce of the game. Still, though, a 16-point lead for Wekiva. In the first of 2 varsity games today, the women will take to the court next. Left wing extended. Short clinks off the rim. Skying for that rebound is Caballero, and he draws the foul as well.
Foul is called against Mustangs number 34, Joshua Griffin. That's his first personal foul and the team's 5th.
So a 33-17 lead for Wekiva. They've led since about 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. And their defense continues at intense pace. And Josh Griffin, who comes in, gets a hand. That's Hampton. The pass to Profit, who slides through the lane.
Varsity Profit, and 1. Fouls called against number 1, Chad Washington on the block, his first, and the team's 8th. Varsity Profit shooting 1.
So Profit with 9 points now. And make that 10 for the freshman point guard. And a 36-17 lead with 1:20 remaining. Trying to slash through that lane is Kroll, and he will get some positive results in the form of a foul.
Yeah, we have one official called travel, one official called foul. They're going to talk it over and see which happened first.
Okay. And they're
traveling. Mustangs ball.
So the turnover.
Livingston back into the game for Wekiva.
Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi bringing you the call along with the broadcast production department at Wekiva handling the video aspects. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. Wekiva looking to win 2 in a row. They defeated Edgewater last night. They worked that ball in and scored the deuce.
Hampton from Joshua Griffin. 10 points for Hampton today.
Again, this is only his second game returning from an injury, and now he's showing his defensive wares. Rotating the ball, Timber Creek to the left, rattles in and out, and Hampton skying for the rebound. He'll lead the charge the other way, off the Profit. Stop, pop, and no drop, but we do have a whistle.
It went in. It went in. The question is what happened on the foul.
Oh, okay.
Basket by Varsity Profit is good. After the shot was released, Joshua Griffin is called on a loose ball foul. His second, the team's 6th. Wolves ball at their own baseline.
Okay, so the end result is Wekiva scores. They now have a 40-17 lead with 37 seconds remaining. Again, Wekiva looking to win 2 in a row. Defeated Edgewater last night. The women varsity teams will take to the court after this one as we have a whistle at midcourt.
Foul called against Mustangs, number 12. Abia Charles his first, and the team's 7th. It puts the Wolves at the line to shoot 1-on-1 bonus.
And score the first for Mayfield. So Mayfield, the leading scorer for Timber Creek with 10.3 points. And he cuts the lead to 40-19 as Livingston brings the ball up, 1-on-1 with Mayfield, 20 seconds remaining. Wekiva looking to close out this half on a positive note. They started it strong, 7 in a row. Livingston shakes Mayfield, slides through, score the deuce,
Darius
+1.
Livingston, and 1. The foul is called against Joshua Griffin, so it'll be 1-on-1 bonus for Marcus Krall. All right, so that was not an and one. The foul actually had nothing to do with the shot action. It was away from the ball, so 2 times to the line for bonus. Ironic, as Wekiva's had bonus in their favor for the last several minutes and hasn't actually seen any dividends from it until just now.
Yeah, and again, that was a lot of happening in about a second and a half. And now
Miles
we get
Mayfield
foul.
now is called on his first personal foul. The team's 9th. Mustangs now into bonus. Darius Livingston shooting 1-on-1.
So Livingston going to the line. He has 7 points tonight, this afternoon. 41-19 lead for Wekiva. And an opportunity for Wekiva, just like at the end of the second quarter, to head into the break with the last word. And score the deuce for Livingston. Can Timber Creek answer quickly? No. The turnover, the tip. Hampton, yes, gets the
Malachi
roll.
Hampton at the buzzer will have the last word of the first half, and the Mustangs will go into the locker room with a 45-19 advantage.
And so Wekiva took the lead on an 18-3 run, and they strengthened that lead, scoring the last 4 points of the second quarter. We'll be back 45-19 when we return from Mustang.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. We'll be back to live action in just a moment. Wekiva with a 46-19 lead. That is an adjustment. If you were tuned in at the end of the first half, we found a missing free throw that never got put on the scoreboard from Livingston, so that makes it 46-19, getting ready to come back from halftime.
The first half began with 5 lead changes. This is Timber Creek in the purple, Wekiva in the white. And then Wekiva went on an 18-3 run to take the lead as Doucette makes the withdrawal.
Isaiah Bannister opens up second half scoring for the Mustangs.
And Wekiva finished out that first half scoring the last 5 points. Malachi Hampton getting the last words, a great pass. And then the turnaround and got the roll on the shot from the free throw line. So Wekiva coming in 4-6. They won last night against Edgewater. You can say that's somewhat of an upset. Looking to win their second in a row and up the lead to 5-6. And strong start to this second half. No dice underneath the basket.
Yeah, Chad Washington fading away from that and just couldn't quite get the angle on it. Now we're going to get a foul called against Chad Washington. That's his second, the team's first of this half.
And more importantly, that's a turnover for Timber Creek. And I was just going to get to the turnovers, Mark. 13 turnovers in that first half for Timber Creek. So now up to 14. Hammond, the senior, drives, kicks out.
Wide open in the corner. Davis is short. And now we get a foul. Davis is called on his first personal foul, the team's first. Wolves ball at their own baseline.
And we talked throughout that first half. Malachi Hampton, this is only his second game. He's played since the first week of the season. He suffered a hand injury, underwent surgery. The third game. And now the turnover intercepted by Profit. Hammond takes the looping pass and makes the withdrawal.
Jamaric Hammond from Malachi Hampton.
So 3 turnovers from Timber Creek. And now Hammond up to 9 points. But getting back to Hampton, Malachi Hampton, third game back from his injury, his hand injury, as we get the tray launched. And that will be no dice, rolls over the backboard. And that's Hampton inbounding the ball. He has 12 points, so certainly looks like he's rounding back into his what we expect form. Wekiva with the 50-19 lead, 6 minutes, third quarter. Hammond out to Hampton and makes contact, sheds the defender, can't get to drop the deuce. And doing Windex work is Caballero. Coming back the other way.
For the tray, short for Chad Washington. Offensive board for Williams. And he resets the play, tries to get around Profit, and steps out. So there's another turnover for the Wolves.
Yeah, 4 now, only 2 minutes, 13 seconds into this third quarter.
Checking into the game for Timber Creek. Number 21, Malcolm Brown, and number 35, Timothy Coe.
About 150 fans in attendance for the Saturday afternoon quadruple header. We got 2 varsity games coming up. The women will play next.
And a tough pass to Hampton in the key, broken up by the Wolves.
So Mustang Arena is the site on the southeast side of Apopka. And we are inside, but outside is a very beautiful day, Mark. Temperatures in the mid-70s.
Yeah, this is one of those that I wish we could move the game out to one of the blacktop courts.
Hammond takes the inbound. And Profit launches and drains the rain.
And Avosi Profit for 3.
And Wekiva continues to shoot well, 3 of 6 in the second half. No dice for Coe.
Kerry Davis on the rebound. Mustangs go back to work in transition. Beautiful pass. And it's Kerry Davis into traffic for the Isaiah Bannister layup.
And we haven't seen a lot of that furious all-out, complete transition opportunities, Mark. But
that was
certainly
bold. I mean, that was a bold decision and had to be perfect or it was going to be a turnover, and it was perfect.
So speaking of bold opportunities, 2 in a row, Profit, no dice, and rejected.
Profit is fouled on the putback attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The foul is called against Wolves, number 21, Malcolm Brown. That's his first personal foul, the team's second.
So Profit, the sophomore, will go to the line with 13 points. He's now the leading scorer. And a very balanced attack for Wekiva. 4 players with at least 7 points. That's Hampton with 12, Hammond with 9, Doucette with 7, and now Profit with 4. 4:22 remaining in the third quarter. Mentioned that we have 2 varsity games today. This is the first. After this game, the women will take to the court, the 14-1 women for Wekiva, as the score is now 57-19. They'll take to the court, but we had 2 JV games before this one. 4 minutes exactly in the third quarter. Timber Creek looking to cut into the lead, and they have been totally dominated since about 2 minutes in the first quarter. 5 lead changes through the first 6 minutes and an 18-3 run for Wekiva. No dice on the slash through the lane for Malcolm Brown. And at the other end, a travel for Wekiva. Actually, their first of the second half, more than 4 minutes in, so that certainly got to bring a smile to the coaching staff.
Darius Livingston returns to the game for the Mustangs. It should be noted that Jamara Hammond thread that happened a few moments ago did push the Mustangs over that 35-point threshold, so we will be using a running clock for the rest of this varsity boys contest.
And now the double team comes loose. Timber Creek keeps possession. But again, we talk about it all the time. That does disrupt an offense's timing and rhythm. And certainly Timber Creek needs that. And score the tray.
3 for Timothy Coe from Chad Washington.
Back the other way. Hammond with the answer.
Hammond answers with a 3 of his own. 12 points for him this afternoon, and that makes it an even 60 for the Mustangs.
No
Trey
dice.
not there for Coe, and an easy rebound for Malachi Hampton. Big man in the center goes out to Charles, who tries to get the transition jumper to fall. That's not there. Chases down the rebound, got nobody in front of him, then blocked from behind by Chad Washington. So a nice move from Washington there, preventing the easy layup. It'll stay with the Mustangs, though. 2 minutes and change remaining in the third quarter. And this is a scenario that the Mustangs know all too well from being on the other side of it, where you come out of the gates, guns blazing, burning the afterburners on, and then the Wolves just kind of ran out of gas midway through the first quarter and have not been able really to answer the Mustangs' momentum ever since then.
Yeah, 18-3 run, which began about 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Wide open, nobody in front of Washington. A little too much heat on that one, but extra opportunity as Timothy Coe gets the rebound and feeds it to Marcus Krall.
And Coach Banks, Wekiva, stepping in for Coach Lubin, wants a timeout.
Full timeout requested by the Mustangs.
Didn't like what he saw, but the Mustangs still with the 60-24 lead, 1:26 remaining from Mustang Arena. Yeah, Mustang Arena, the site, home of the Wekiva Mustangs on the southeast side of Apopka, Florida. Wekiva with a 60-24 lead, 1:20 in the third quarter. As this is Livingston trying to hand the ball off to Doucette. And 3 Timberwolves, Timber Creek, in the way, come back the other way, and drawing the foul is Krell.
Marcus Krall fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Wolves. Mustang foul called against number 4, Isaiah Bannister, on the block. That's his third and the team's second.
Wekiva has dominated this game since about 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. They went on an 18-6 run, and that was predicated by 3 consecutive turnovers, Wekiva turning them into the first 7 of those 18 points. 30 seconds remaining, as both free throws are good from Krall, and Wekiva will go back to work. The women, the 14-1 Wekiva Mustangs women, will take to the court next. They'll also be playing the Timber Creek women, who come in with a 9-8 record, a bit off the mark for them, what they're used to. 12 seconds remaining after the turnover. Timber Creek, opportunity to get the last say, and that will pretty much do it as we have the running clock. And 2-1, and there is the buzzer. So the turnover brings that third quarter to an end. Wekiva continues to extend its lead. Again, 18-3 lead, put them in front. With 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter, they now lead by 35 heading into the fourth. We'll be back for that fourth quarter. And we begin the fourth quarter. Wekiva in the white jerseys. They'll be on defense with a 60-25 lead over the Timber Creek. And 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Wekiva has dominated since an 18-3 run, put them in the lead. And now it's just a matter, the formality of running out the clock in the fourth quarter. The launch, Trey no good, rolls off the rim and battle underneath and several whistles. Some tensions flaring up.
Held ball, possession Mustangs. Yeah, I don't necessarily know that was much of a scuffle as it was just lost his balance going for the ball, and it looked a lot more spectacular than it was.
So the Wekiva women stick around. They will take to the court next. They will take on the Timber Creek women. This is the third of 4 games being played today. 2 JV games taking place before this. Of course, that matched the women against the men, same 2 teams. This is Charles, drives that lane, slides around the corner and draws the foul. Actually, no, it will be just out of bounds. No, it is a foul.
Foul called against number 1, Chad Washington.
So Charles at the line. He's still looking for his first points tonight.
And he won't get that one either, even though it went in. That's a lane violation.
So a very balanced attack as far as the scoring with Wekiva. Malachi Hampton playing in his 3rd game since he returned from injury with 12 points. Hammond also with 12 points, and Darius Livingston with 10 points as well. They've combined for over half of Wekiva's points. And nice offensive rebound.
Well, that was a legit steal. That was rebounded by Timber Creek, and then Abia Charles picked off the transition pass.
So Hammond one-on-one in the corner against Krall. Decides to reset the offense with the 35-point lead. And now the up-and-down shoulder move by Hampton, doing Windex work in the withdrawal.
Malachi Hampton on the Mustangs layup. 14 points for him in his 2nd game back. And now, if you didn't know before, his 3rd game back, excuse me, and now you know why the Mustangs missed him so much.
Yep.
As Chad Washington draws the foul, he'll go to the line and shoot two. The Mustang foul called against Abia Charles, his second, the team's third.
Yeah, and so Coach Lubin called Hampton the transmission of the team, and quick automotive lesson. The transmission is the component of the car which allows the engine to shift gears.
Unless, of course, you drive an electric, in which case
The traditional car. And Coach Lubin referred to Jamerick Hammond, the senior point guard, as their engine. So not only to your point, Mark, that you can see why Wekiva missed him. He missed almost the entire first season. But as we get the steal and the deuce.
Ryan Cox steals the layup for the Wolves.
Jamerick Hammond was missing his running mate, if you will. Again, Hampton being the transmission and Hammond being the engine. So 4.5 remaining in this game. 62-28 lead for Wekiva. They have led since roughly 2 minutes into this game. 5 lead changes during the first 6 minutes and an 18-3 run ripped off by Wekiva to take the lead for good.
Mustang foul called against number 12, Abia Charles, his third, the team's fourth.
And so Timber Creek will go back to work. And that will be a short-lived
inbounding violation, Mustangs ball.
Short-lived opportunity for Timber Creek.
Yeah, we try to keep the score tables as far off the court as we can while not covering up the power outlet, but you still have to be aware of your position on the floor. As Livingston not able to float one in there, rebound to Mayfield, and the Wolves go to work, interrupted by Vosi Prophet. And while he will not get the steal for the Mustangs, he will interrupt the rhythm enough to allow the Mustangs to put up the half-court set, and we'll also get some substitutions while we're at it here. Davis and Griffin back in for the Mustangs. Second chance basket scored by number 5, Brandon Rivera.
Cuts the lead to 62-28. 30, 62-30 as Wekiva goes back to work. And again, they've dominated since roughly 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Prophet back to Doucette. Prophet again looking to make a drive, but runs into a wall. Timber Creek the other way, and rejected by Prophet. So Prophet showing some defensive prowess, looking to right that wrong from the offensive turnover.
And we should point out, if you are tuning in for the girls' game, don't worry, it's coming. We know we're already about 4 minutes late for that. We got a little behind in the JV's girls' game, which had a lot of fouls. And so we're still making our way back from that. We're going to make up some time here with the running clock in the varsity boys game, but fear not, that is going to be on its own separate live stream, so you will need to exit out of this game and then rejoin us. We'll probably clip the warm-up by just a couple of minutes, but it'll be 10-15 minutes after the conclusion of this game. We'll get going with the varsity girls action.
And Rivera going right, left, back to the right, pretty much any way he could get the ball up, and it does pay off dividends.
Vosi Prophet is called on his first personal foul, the team's fifth. That'll send Brandon Rivera to the line shooting 2. Rivera hits the second after missing the first. And 70 seconds left in this varsity contest.
And now Wekiva will play out the clock. That's Davis. And a foul as the clock dips under a minute. And so Wekiva will up its record to 5-6 overall as Davis takes inside, drops back, short, And Wekiva, for the first time this season, will win its second consecutive game. They won last night 60-47 over Edgewater. The shot from the left corner, no dice. And 5 lead changes through the first 6 minutes of this game. And then Wekiva went to work. Score of the deuce for Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon.
Wekiva forcing 3 consecutive turnovers, 7 consecutive points. All those turnovers turned into points. Eventually an 18-3 run. Again, began about 2 minutes into the first quarter, and Wekiva, after that run, continued to extend its lead. So once again, your final score is 64-31 for Mustang Arena. Wekiva winning its second in a row. Take us home, Mark.
That takes us to the end of the ball game. 64-31 is the final score in the boys' contest. Don't go anywhere. We've got varsity girls basketball action coming your way next to wrap up the Old School Jam Classic. For those of you who are watching online, just be aware that we have different live streams for each of the games. So we will meet you at the varsity girls game shortly.